What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Today, we're talking about raising your team's standards, which also include raising your own. But this is a passionate one about my belief as a salesperson and being integral about what the heck you're selling. You're going to love it. Catch up with you guys. You're going to enjoy this episode. It starts right now. Contractors all over the world are wanting more time, more freedom, more impact. The way we do this is through implementing systems, processes, standards. Welcome to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Here we hit business strategy, coaching, mindset, motivation, the tools you need for success. So strap in, listen up, and get ready to grow on the Contractor Secrets Podcast. What's up, guys? Glad to be back, man. It has been quite some time since I came to you and tried to instill some really powerful advice into your business, into your day to day. I want to thank you for being a part of this podcast. Checking in. We have the lift off or blast off series stringing along on the podcast. So I hope you're getting some value out of that. And man, it has been fun. I want to talk about some business principles with you guys. I want to help you really refine some of your skill sets when it comes to getting your company to be the company that people want to work with. And we're going to utilize the power of perception. Now, early on in my business, this was early on. This was in the beginning. I just remember going into a customer's house and knowing that we were not the best at what we were selling. And it was because we were inexperienced. I didn't have any good painters on my team. I had a couple of kids I went to high school with. And those of you that know the story about, my dad and his battle with substance abuse, what I had thought I was getting out of him when we started the business, I did not get because I didn't understand the length of his, his addiction. So, there was times where I would, kind of just be on my own and not really, I had no clue how to actually paint. And I had two people that barely knew as well. But I had utilized that thing called resourcefulness that some of us activate every now and again. And I had just quit my job at the bank. I had just, made the move and such a drastic change in my life to start a painting business. I had doubts if I would be able to even keep going just because I relied heavily on my dad's skill sets. And I realized that I was outselling the quality of the product. And some of us are in that same position. We have to sell in order to survive, but we know that the product we're selling isn't the best product out there. That might be some of you that are just starting your business or some of you that don't have the best team right now. And it's very hard to sell that confidently. And it's interesting because it's something that, most people won't talk about, but what I had to do is I had to sell it as if it were the best, even though it wasn't. And I knew if someone would give me the opportunity, even though we weren't the best, I would make sure that their job would get done. And there's something going on in the background as I was growing my business and as I was building, my brand, building my team. And it was a consistent improvement mindset to eventually match what I was selling and then ultimately exceed what I was selling, right? So, in business, you're going to go through a few stages, and I'll use Dripjobs as an example because it doesn't matter what business you're in, whether you're selling painting, roofing, siding, the fulfillment is the desirable ends for the customer, right? What are you fulfilling? The quality of that experience is the ultimate selling point. The confidence that you showcase to the customer during that interaction can make or break the sale. Your lack of confidence during that estimate, knowing that It might be a project that you could lose your tail on. You don't have the right team, but you need the job. And internally, you're sweating and you're saying, if I get this, I'll figure it out. Okay. Now, there's a difference between trying and knowing, right? And I want I want you to get this because Dripjobs is a really good example of this. So when I started Dripjobs, it took about a year of development. And during that time, all I'm trying to do and all I'm pushing the development team to do is to match the hype, right? Match the hype. So, of course, that whole time I'm hyping up Dripjobs with everyone that I talk to. Those of you guys have been a part of my podcast. Some of you have been listening to this early on. I'm talking about when I was like, hey, I just, have an announcement to make. I'm starting a program called Dripjobs. And you got to experience some of that hype. And behind the scenes, though, and this is full transparency, I have to be real with you in this regard. Hopefully you don't take offense to this, but behind the scenes, things were chaotic. As I was hyping this product up, the production team working on the product, we were running into all sorts of issues. The testing that I was doing, I said, man, this isn't what I'm hyping up. This isn't going to help my future customers get from point A to point B. This is going to slow them down. This isn't what I'm selling. So I have two choices as a leader of this production, right? I have two choices. I can be okay with that, and I could say, yeah, keep building in that direction. They're going to buy it, and that's going to be it. And that would make me to be a liar. Now, you can get away with that for a little bit in business, but eventually people will figure you out, right? They'll figure you out. Even if that wasn't your true intent and it ultimately became your intent because you don't have any other options, maybe you don't have a better production team, then ultimately you're still made out to be a liar. You're still made out to be a scammer or something along those lines, right? In other words, in the painting business, I don't think you'd be made out to be a liar or a scammer. There would just be what's called unmet expectations. And that's where trouble happens in business. That's where you get a bad review. That's where you get a customer that's just, unsatisfied and all these problems, stress kicks in, anxiety kicks in. So as development's happening, I'm thinking, I'm not going to stop selling the dream because that is my standard. Is if I'm putting my name on something, it is going to be great as a salesperson because people are not buying my product. They're buying Tanner. They're buying the trust. They're buying the name that's in charge of the product. I need my audience, my customers to know that if Tanner put his name on it, it's 100. He's backing it. He's got our back. And I never wanted that to get compromised because all you are in this world is your word. So as a salesperson, I don't need to rely heavily on skill. And I think some of us think that you need to be a skilled salesperson to win the job, a skilled salesperson to get the customers to sign up. Do you need to have skill? Yeah, you do, because you have to convert those that are on the fence. And that does require a little bit of persuasion, a little bit of word track, a little bit of dialogue. But you don't need to be that skilled if your product is superior and you know that. So, am I the most skilled salesperson? No, I'm not. I don't claim to be. I have skills, but I use my product as leverage. And I've always done this. I've always used the product as leverage to help me with the sale. Why sweat to sell something when the product does most of the selling? I don't want to work that hard, right? So when I decided who I wanted to work for in the car industry, I picked Toyota. Why? Loyal following, incredible product. People know they want a Toyota. I just need to show them the cool things that Toyota's doing in their new cars. Half of my job is done. Easy money. When I sold life insurance, I wanted to work for a brokerage that represented 90 different products because out of those 95 of them were superior, and at least I represented them and I could sell those products. I could give options to my customer. So naturally, And even when I worked at a restaurant, I wanted to work at the best restaurant in town. Why? Because I didn't have to wait around for people to come in. They already knew the brand. They were already going to spend money because the product was so good. The food was amazing. It was easy to sell. I didn't have upset people at the end of the dining experience blaming the restaurant, not tipping me. I used the product as leverage. So when I started my painting business, I ran into a problem. The problem is that when I started selling my product, which is the team that I put together, their training and our process, it was not superior. And I said, wait a minute, superior is my leverage. That is my standard. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I don't know how to sell something that sucks. So then I have a choice here. Either I elevate my standard when it comes to my production because I know how important that is, or I just keep selling this crap and run into upset customers, frustrated people, and be made out to be a liar and sell a dream that never gets fulfilled. So my mindset was, okay, I'm not going into a sale without extreme confidence ever again. And I think some of us run a painting business, a roofing business, a siding business, whatever it is that you do, and you're going into these estimates and you're not as confident as you should be because you truly don't believe in your product. And that might not be because your team isn't good. Maybe it's because you have to be doing the work, and in the eyes of your customer, you're looking at a certain job and thinking, man, this is going to crush me. This is going to be so much work. And you don't have that spark that they deserve, that a salesperson who's confident in the job and confident in the team's ability to deliver comes to them with. So when it came to Dripjobs, I was selling the dream. Then my production team would send me an update and say, hey, there's some things here that you can test. And I had to come at them in a way that was like, remake this. Do this again. This isn't my standard. I am a trusted advisor to my customers. I'm the intermediary between their production. They trust me to make sure that the job gets done right. All of my Dripjobs customers are my customers. They're trusting me to make sure that this product is superior. Fix it. And what'll happen is that your production team, whether it's software development or whether it's painting, will either rise to the occasion or fall. Whatever you allow in your business will be the standard. I've learned that so much over the last 7 or 8 years that I've owned a business. My standard is the standard. Whatever you say is okay, everyone else will say is okay. Whatever you don't say is okay, everyone else will say it's not okay. And that comes from no other place but wanting to make sure that I'm keeping my promises. So when it came to development of Dripjobs, I was selling the dream. It wasn't the dream that I was selling. And it wasn't the dream that I was selling early on when we first launched it either. It was terrible. There were bugs. Things weren't working right. There were messages being sent to people that shouldn't be being sent. It was glitchy. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I thank any of you that signed up for Dripjobs the first month or two that we launched. I love you all. And you put up with it and you stuck around. So thank you. You guys know who you are. However, I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried because I wasn't going to stop until the dream was fulfilled. Catch that. It's very important. It was the mindset. In the background, I was cranking production to get it right. I was cranking. I fired the entire team that was originally working on Dripjobs because it sucked and they sucked and their standards sucked. And they weren't going to impose their shit. Sorry, you guys know I don't. It's just that's how important it is to me. You guys know I don't use those words here, but it's important for me to hammer that. No one imposes their standard on my standard and lowers my credibility. And if you're allowing that in your business, you've lost. So I fired the entire production team that I had built a 1.5 year relationship with. I've spent a ton of money with. I've got to know them personally. Hundreds of Zoom calls, hundreds of calls. They just didn't get it and they didn't care. So I fired them and I was left with a batch of code and no skill sets. And I had, at that time, 40 or 50 companies using Dripjobs. The Dripjobs users didn't know this. It wasn't their problem. There was a 3-week stretch where I had no developers on Dripjobs at all. But I knew that I was not going to allow anyone else to come in and impose their crap standards in my company. Because my customers who exchanged their hard-earned money and have believed in me and bought into me did not deserve it. They didn't deserve it. I didn't care about the money. Money wasn't the priority. Yeah, it was cool. We were making some money. It was exciting. But I knew it wouldn't last if I didn't fix it. There were people that had bug issues that were like, Tanner, when is this getting fixed? I can't even use this app. That I couldn't fix because I didn't have the production team. How many of us have been in that position? From a painting perspective, from a roofing perspective, where the people around you just have crap standards. They have crap standards in their personal life, in their financial life, and they bring that crap into your business. So I set out to find high standards. And I knew what I wanted and I knew what I was looking for. And it was for my employees. It was for my future. It was for my team. And it was for my customers more than anything. It was for the people that believed in me. So when I first started my painting business, the same thing happened. The people around me just didn't have the standard. They weren't showing up on time. They were doing crap work. And I'm like, I am not selling this to my customers. I'm not. You're not going to compromise my livelihood and what I'm building here. You don't respect the fact that I've created this thing that helps you provide for your family. And these people that pay us believe that we're going to provide a superior product. And you're cutting corners. You're leaving early. And you're not appreciating the opportunity. Get out. So I cleaned house. Started fresh. So when I hired, I knew that I was looking for a high standard. You need to be a recruiter above all. If you can't master the art of recruiting, you will not go far in business. If you think of a college football recruit, that's what they're called, recruiter. They're looking for the best talent. And then what they're doing is they're convincing the best talent to come with them. That's recruiting. Hiring is a passive role. Recruiting is an aggressive role. I don't like the word hiring. It's just commercially used. Hiring. No, I'm a recruiter for premium painting. I'm a recruiter for Dripjobs. And I'm recruiting the best talent. Start seeing yourself as a recruiter. Bring in individuals that have a high standard. There's so many things that we could talk about in terms of sales and getting better at sales, learning different word tracks, learning different ways to convince people to move forward with you. All that's great. But if you walk into a customer's house knowing that you have the best team, they're going to show up on time and they're going to fulfill the promises of the sale. You already won half the battle. So as other individuals who come in behind us, other painting companies come in and they have a spark of uncertainty because they're not even sure if their team's going to show up on time. They're not sure if the person who they have in charge is going to lead the job the right way and keep them within budget. But the customer's going to notice that right away. because I'm going to come in and instead of convincing the customer to go with me, I'm not focused on that. I'm like portraying like if you don't go with me, like that is I mean that's on you. I'm just letting you know like we have the absolute best team. We have the best people. You're going to want the best people working on your home. Do you value your home? I'm not saying all this, but this is what I'm conveying. And it's a certain level of confidence that I had when I sold Toyotas. It's the safest car you can drive. You know the Toyota brand. We don't focus on the bells and whistles. We focus on making sure you get home safe. Yeah, there's some cool features. But if you ever get in an accident, this has the highest safety rating. Because they focused on production. They made sure that the production standard was as high as possible. The fulfillment was as high as possible. Because then it makes sales easy. So back to Dripjobs. I spend more time with the development team than any other entity in my life, making sure that the product is superior. Why? Because I don't do demos anymore, but when I was doing them, I noticed something. As things started getting fixed and as the answers to questions started being yes rather than no, it was getting easier and easier and easier to sell it. I didn't have to sell it so hard. I was just showing the product. And the product was doing the selling for me. I was getting less exhausted trying to convince people to sign up. And I studied the game. I studied the wants and the needs of the customers. I studied what questions they were asking, and I aligned production with that. I understand the pain points of software, and I align production with that because I wanted the answer to be yes instead of no. Can it do this? Does it do this? In the beginning, I would say no, and now I say yes. It does. Listen to your customers. What are the pain points that your customers go through when it comes to hiring contractors? Not showing up on time. What is your on-time policy? Cussing on the job. What is your communication policy around that? Are you not bold enough to tell your team not to use cuss words? You think that'll make you look funny? That's what you care about? Smoking on the job. What's your policy? Leaving cigarette butts. If you do compromise in that area, what's your policy on that? What's your cleanup policy at the end of the job? How important is it to you? Business is about providing solutions. People will pay you for that. The degree of which you provide the solution matters. That's what gets people to pay more. So anyone can sell a paint job. What's the difference between going with premium painting and a one-man army? A better experience. You guys have heard me teach this. How do I create a better experience? There's hundreds of CRMs out there. Jobber, $60+ million in funding, 100+ employees, huge company. Why are people leaving Jobber to come to Dripjobs? We listen to our customers better than they do. They're out of touch with the market. Plain and simple. Solution driven. Make your business solution driven, and that requires being tough on the production side. It requires raising the standard, and it requires removing individuals in your business that do not uphold the standard. And if you cannot do that, you're in for it. You're in for it. You won't be able to sell as good as you possibly could. You won't be able to produce as good as you possibly could. And you're not able to sell the dream, but if you do, just to win a job, not fulfilling that dream is a bad feeling. It's a bad feeling. So as I was going through the process of not fulfilling the dream, I did everything I could to get as close as possible. And in the back of my head, I continuously tried to refine, our production. And that's okay if you're in that stage. If you're in that incubator stage, it's going to require you to care more, stay later, outdo yourself, exceed the expectations, win the customer over through customer service. But this is the standard that needs to resonate throughout your company. This is how you get to $1 million plus a year consistently. And this is what we've done. Look at our reviews. Google Premium Painting. Look it up. I'm not telling you anything I don't believe in with my core. Those of you that use Dripjobs, you already know what it is. We're coming. We're coming. If you're not on Dripjobs, I want to win your business. Allow me to show you the standard. Allow me to show you. Allow me to outdo your expectations. That is my mindset as a salesperson. And that's why I had to become a business owner. It was, I wanted to, but I was forced to. I was forced to through my desire to control the production, because I knew that if I had control over what we were making and selling, then I could sell it that much better because it would be my standard. Selling other people's stuff is cool, but I wanted to control the standard. So a lot here to unpack. This should fire you up. This should fire you up as a salesperson, as a business owner, to understand that your team is your product. The quality of your team is the quality of your product. Their standard is the standard of the product. And if you're hiring, you're passive. If you're recruiting, you're aggressive. Are you a recruiter? When you're interviewing someone, are you looking for a high standard? Are you truly asking the questions? Are you truly vetting the individual? Whatever you throw into the pot either increases the average or decreases the average. Every time I hire now, they better improve what we already have, or they're not getting in. Don't bring your bad habits and your negative energy into my operation, because it'll make it harder for me to sell it. And if you're not selling, you're dying in business. I need leverage in this industry. There's so much competition. I need this leverage. You need this leverage. At the very least, have the best product. Have the best product. Some of you get so stressed out about not being able to sell. Have the best product, and 50% of the work is done for you. And if you're at a standstill, make your production process so smooth. From start to finish, you should be outlining everything that happens so you can spit it out verbatim. Let me give you an example. When you walk up to a door as a project manager, when you have your project manager do it, how does he act? Let's start there. Hey, Mrs. Jones, how you doing? We're here to paint your house today. Okay, great. Okay, you just want to walk us around and let us know what we're doing? Uh-oh. Some of you just smiled right there, because you know that some of your crew leaders are asking the customer what they're doing. No, that's not the dialogue. The dialogue is, good morning. How are you, Mrs. Jones? My name is Ray. I'm the project manager with Premium Painting. Hey, I just want to pull you aside real quick. Can we just quickly go through this work order to make sure we're on the same page? Professional from every step of the production process. Fantastic. Let me help you understand our expectations today and then the next days going forward. First, we're going to be here every day at 8 o'clock. We leave at 4:30. From the start of this project, I want to get your master bedroom done so you have a place to sleep tonight. If that's okay with you, I'd like to get that whole area complete, and then we'll work our way throughout the rest of the house. Is there anything I need to know about pets, or people coming in and out, or a grandma in the back that we need to watch while you're gone? Right? This is different. If you're not outlining what you want each step of the production to be, then you're missing out. You're missing out on an opportunity to win. So when you go to the sale, guess what you're going to say? Hey, on the first day of the project, our project manager, Ray, he's going to sit with you for a few minutes, and you're going to go over the work order to make sure everyone's on the same page. You see? Align your production with your sales. There needs to be integrity in your business. If you don't know what the word integrity means, it means integrated. Everything needs to be integrated. So, in other words, if you're selling something out of proportion, your company that you claim operates with integrity is not integral. It's a lie. Get your company integrated. That's what I got for you guys. Love you. See you later.